in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup is.
Yeah, I understand what it's worth doing when the industry is canceling one black guy. I know what happens when they are going to elevate another.
These top artists in the world have done some of the best work of their career. Yeah. And the idea that they might be denied because of me is like, oh.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse.
And young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bashir Gray.
Katt Williams just dropped a bombshell, exposing Will Smith's shocking plan to hunt down and end Jim Carrey.
Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
As Jim continues to spill Hollywood's darkest secrets, Katt is warning that Will might be ready to take things to a terrifying level.
I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati.
In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets.
Is Jim's life truly in danger? And why would Will Smith be targeting him now? With everything Carrey has revealed, it seems Hollywood's elite will stop at nothing to silence him. Buckle up, because this is the kind of Hollywood drama no one saw coming.
It's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening in our world right now?
It's not our world.
None
That's
of this
the
is
key.
real?
Nope.
So you're just passing
We don't
through.
matter. We don't matter.
So, what's Jim done to deserve this? Well, he's been getting real bold lately. He's been dropping bombshells, exposing secrets that no one was ever supposed to talk about. You know Jim Carrey, he's never been one to shy away from telling it like it is. But this time, he's gone way too far. He's been calling out the Hollywood elite, the system that keeps them powerful, and guess who he's put in the spotlight? That's right, Will Smith. According to Katt Williams, Jim's gone rogue, and Will isn't about to let him get away with it. Let's rewind a bit. If you've been keeping up with Jim Carrey, you know he's been acting a little different lately. Over the past few years, he's stepped away from the spotlight in a way that most people would say is Jim just being Jim.
You know, whether something is a success or not, you have to take the chance of, losing a few people. Because you do gain others.
But what if there's something more to it? What if Carrey's seemingly erratic behavior is actually part of a much bigger plan? One that involves exposing the dark, dirty secrets of Hollywood's elite? He's been talking about the toxic power structures, the twisted world behind the scenes, and yes, he's been calling out specific names. One of those names, Katt Williams claims, is Will Smith. Now, why would Jim go after Will Smith? Think about it. Will Smith has been one of Hollywood's untouchables for decades. Clean-cut, charming, a global superstar with an empire of movies, endorsements, and a flawless image, until the slap heard around the world. At the 2022 Academy Awards, when Will stormed the stage and slapped Chris Rock, the world was shocked. But it wasn't just a one-off moment of rage. Many saw it as a crack in the perfect facade that Will had carefully constructed over years. Jim Carrey, however, didn't just see it, he said it out loud. In an interview after the Oscars, Jim was one of the few celebrities to openly call out Will, saying he should be ashamed of himself and calling the entire event spineless.
Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
Jim Carrey didn't mince words when he threw shade at the whole debacle between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse.
Carrey further told Gayle King on CBS that he was disgusted by the entire scene. You know, the one where Smith slapped Rock after a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's haircut, linked to her alopecia.
Uh-oh, Richard! Oh, wow! Wow! Will Smith just smacked the
Carrey was furious, especially after Smith yelled at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth, and then walked away with the Best Actor award for King Richard. To Carrey, that was a breaking point. He said it made him sick to see the crowd giving Smith a standing ovation right after what had happened. To him, it seemed like Will Smith's rise wasn't just due to talent, but maybe something more behind the scenes, something powerful enough to keep him protected. If it weren't for this unseen protection, Carrey believed Smith would have been kicked out of the Oscars that very night. When Gayle King pointed out that Chris Rock chose not to press charges, Carrey jumped in, claiming it was only because Rock preferred to avoid the trouble.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous.
Now, the question on many people's minds after that Oscars moment was, could this trouble have something to do with Will Smith's alleged protectors? Many believe Chris Rock's decision not to press charges isn't just about avoiding drama, but rather a fear of the alleged power Smith holds in Hollywood. But Jim didn't stop there. He hinted at deeper, more insidious things going on in Hollywood, things that Will Smith, Katt says, might be desperate to keep buried. And that's where things get really dangerous. According to Katt Williams, Jim Carrey's been on a mission to shine a light on Hollywood's dirty laundry, and in doing so, he's made some powerful enemies. Jim has been talking openly about things like Hollywood's connection to mind control, secret societies, and other conspiracies that would blow the public's mind. He's been questioning the very fabric of the celebrity machine, who controls it, why, and to what end. And guess who's at the center of that web? That's right, Will Smith. Katt claims that Will isn't just a puppet of Hollywood, but a major player in maintaining its status quo.
That guy is the one that will have to slap him in order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing.
So when Jim Carrey started speaking out, Will had no choice but to retaliate. But apparently, Katt Williams says that Will Smith isn't alone in this hunt. Will, once known as the nice guy of Hollywood, now has backing from a shadowy network of elites who have a vested interest in keeping Jim Carrey quiet. For years, rumors have swirled about how Will Smith's influence might stem from certain activities, things that people don't want to talk about. These accusations go beyond talent, suggesting that Smith engaged in rituals for power, including some related to gay activities. Jaguar Wright, a singer who's known for exposing the darker side of the industry, has openly accused Smith of these very things.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
If Jim keeps talking, Katt says, he could unravel the entire system, exposing the very machine that's kept people like Will Smith at the top for so long. This isn't just about Hollywood, it's about power. And Jim, with his cryptic comments, has made it clear that he's not afraid to go there. But wait, let's talk about Katt Williams himself for a moment. He's no stranger to controversy. Over the years, Katt has been vocal about his own battles with Hollywood. He's hinted at being blackballed, controlled, and manipulated by the industry in ways most people can't even imagine. He's been arrested multiple times, and while many brush it off as Katt being crazy, could it be that he's just another truth teller that Hollywood's tried to silence? If anyone knows what Jim Carrey is up against, it's Katt. One of the most jaw-dropping revelations came during an interview where Katt revealed that Diddy tried to entice him with over $50 million to attend his infamous freak-off parties. These weren't just regular parties. These were wild, unhinged events where Diddy allegedly sought total control over attendees, including their bodies.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
This shocking claim sparked a series of events that would forever change Katt's life. After rejecting the deal, it seemed like the floodgates opened. Katt became a target for relentless harassment. His house was robbed, he was physically assaulted, and he was even arrested multiple times, often under suspicious circumstances. But Katt's personal attacks weren't just random, they appeared to be orchestrated. Katt repeatedly spoke out against the industry's elite, including some of the most powerful moguls in entertainment, and many now believe that this made him a target.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time.
Sharing another encounter with Diddy, Williams told on Vlad TV that he attended a party at Diddy's opulent mansion, anticipating mingling with fellow celebrities. However, the evening took a disconcerting turn when Williams noticed something odd. There were no women present, only men. Feeling uneasy, Williams attempted to depart, but Diddy persistently pursued him, making suggestive remarks and offering a suspicious drink. Sensing the situation, Williams declined the drink and firmly expressed his disinterest in Diddy's advances. In no uncertain terms, Williams reiterated his stance, irrespective of Diddy's wealth, fame, or power. I am not gay, and I am not going to sleep with you. However, his rejection seemed to astonish and offend Diddy, who resorted to trying to intimidate Williams by threatening his career. Undeterred, Williams held his ground, asserting that he had nothing to fear. That's why Katt is stepping up big time as a whistleblower, pulling back the curtain on the dark truths lurking beneath the glitz and glam of Hollywood. He's not backing down, dropping bombshells left and right that are rocking the entertainment scene to its core. Well, Katt Williams and Jim Carrey seem to be in the same boat. Two men who refuse to be controlled. The only difference now, Jim's not walking away quietly. He's speaking up, and according to Katt, that's exactly why Will Smith's plan is so dangerous. And here's where it gets really wild. Katt says that what's coming for Jim Carrey isn't just the kind of career-ending cancellation we're used to seeing. Will Smith, with his powerful connections and influence, is allegedly orchestrating a full-on takedown, a systematic destruction of Jim Carrey's image, his career, and possibly, Katt suggests, even his life. Sounds extreme? Not if you've been paying attention to Hollywood's dark history. According to Joe Rogan, the outspoken podcaster known for his no-filter takes, Hollywood might be cutting ties with Jim due to his increasingly controversial image, especially when he talked about the pressure actors face just to stay in the game.
The pressure of that gig is just so crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the same pressure Jim also had to deal with during his prime time in the industry. But why? Over the last few years, Jim has been increasingly vocal about the sketchy things he's witnessed in the entertainment industry. And let's be real, he's been in the game long enough to know what goes down behind those closed doors. But every time he tries to speak out, it seems like Hollywood is ready to shut him down. Is it because Jim knows something bigger that they don't want the public to hear about?
I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies.
Jim isn't exactly a stranger to controversy, but in recent years, it seems like the industry is specifically trying to silence him. We've seen the interviews. He's been hinting at the deeper issues in Hollywood for a while now. He's called it a machine that chews people up and spits them out. He's talked about the fake smiles, the hidden agendas, and the creepy underbelly of fame. But for every statement he makes, the backlash is immediate.
People on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track.
And that's what Joe said during his podcast. He emphasized how Hollywood actors often feel compelled to shape their personalities to align with the expectations of those who hold the power to grant them roles in movies. He said, in Hollywood, the problem is that you're chosen for everything, so you're being cast in these things. You have to deal with people that approve you or pick you. So you're formulating your personality based on whatever the zeitgeist is, whatever the ideology of most of the producers are. But why? What is Jim saying that's hitting so close to home for the industry? It's almost as if they're afraid he's going to expose something even bigger than what's already been revealed. However, Hollywood has never been short on scandals. Just think of the Harvey Weinstein fallout. But when someone like Jim Carrey, who's been part of the elite for decades, starts speaking out, it's time to sit up and pay attention.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I've played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters.
Right now, cancel culture is running wild in Hollywood. We've seen countless celebrities taken down, either for speaking their minds or getting tangled in controversy. And Jim Carrey, he's dangerously close to becoming one of those targets. He's been targeted before, but recently, it feels like Hollywood has him squarely in its crosshairs. The media has labeled him crazy. He's been mocked relentlessly, and major projects have mysteriously slipped through his fingers. Why? Simple, he's refusing to play by Hollywood's rules anymore. Even Martin Freeman, who worked with Jim, had less than flattering things to say about him.
I'm genuinely sure Jim Carrey is a lovely and smart person, but it was the most self-aggrandizing, selfish, narcissistic bollocks I've ever seen.
Freeman never got into the specifics, but it was clear Carrey rubbed him the wrong way. And Freeman's not alone. Remember Tommy Lee Jones? After working together on Batman Forever, Jones openly admitted that he couldn't stand Jim. Carrey himself told that story to the late Norm Macdonald, revealing that Jones once told him, "I hate you, I really don't like you," and further added,
Got up and he went like this, and he went like to hug me, and he said, "I hate you. I really don't like you."
It's hard to imagine that kind of drama brewing behind the scenes, especially since Tommy Lee Jones seemed to hold his own against Jim Carrey's wild energy on screen. But Jones is just one of many actors who've had issues with Jim. The truth is, Carrey's larger-than-life personality and ability to steal the spotlight have rubbed plenty of people the wrong way in Hollywood. In anything he does, it's nearly impossible to outshine Jim Carrey in a scene, and that's bound to frustrate some actors, especially those who've been in the spotlight their entire careers. Jim's larger-than-life presence can easily overshadow others, which might explain why some co-stars, like Tommy Lee Jones, couldn't handle his energy. Incidents like these could very well have contributed to Jim's decision to step back from Hollywood later in his career. After all, when you're constantly at odds with your peers, it's easy to see why you might start distancing yourself from the industry.
I could have done several sequels with several characters, but I felt like that, life is too short. I want to move on. I want to create. I want to annoy people that are, businessmen that want to take advantage of me.
But is this just another case of cancel culture at work, or is something deeper happening? Jim Carrey may have hit a nerve with the people in power, and it seems like they're working hard to discredit him. He's alluded to this in past interviews, where he's exposed the entertainment industry for what it really is, a place built on manipulation, lies, and the exploitation of talent. Jim hasn't been afraid to call out the superficiality of Hollywood, pointing out how celebrities are often used to push certain agendas. And the moment you stop playing along with the game, you're discarded, just like that. What's even more concerning is how Jim's retreat from Hollywood seems to have taken a toll on him personally. Friends and fans have noticed a dramatic change. This was the guy who lit up every room, the guy who made people laugh for years, the life of the party. But now, he's apparently holed up, living in self-isolation, barely a shadow of the man we once knew. Ever since he stepped back in 2022 to focus on his art, he's been out of the public eye, and people are worried. Is it just the toll of fame, or is there something bigger going on behind the scenes?
And depression is your body saying, you, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me.
We've seen this kind of thing before. Celebrities who get too close to the truth suddenly become reclusive, their careers fade, and they just disappear. Look at Dave Chappelle, for instance. Dave Chappelle has seen the good and the ugly side of Hollywood, and he has a few stories to tell about what really goes on behind the scenes. One thing is for sure, Hollywood isn't as sparkling and glamorous as it appears from afar, and if there's anyone who always knew it, it was Dave. He knew all the money in the world wouldn't be enough compensation for what the Hollywood big bosses do to you.
So much money, how could you do that, and blah, blah, blah. But if I had taken that money and finished the show, I would have got the money, but I might never have been the same.
Dave knew that his audience were smart people who understood the intricacies of race and bigotry, but Comedy Central had other plans. They didn't want to upset the bigots or the racists.
I was doing sketches that were funny, but socially irresponsible. I felt like I was deliberately being encouraged.
But Dave could not accept this. This went against everything he believed in as an artist and performer. Chappelle spoke about this lack of freedom of speech in an interview and said, "Art is a powerful commodity. An artist, if you're good at it, should never behave as a commodity." My biggest gripe with this whole controversy with The Closer is that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, "Man shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit expected to survive," and they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Comedy Central not only limited his freedom of speech, they even ripped him off. The network refused to pay him the money he was owed.
People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract.
When Comedy Central offered Dave $50 million for a third season, he refused. Even after Dave refused the offer, Comedy Central wouldn't just let this pass. In fact, they came after him and tried to destroy his reputation. He talked about this many years later in his comedy special. If you quit a show like Chappelle's show, I don't know if you know what happens to you professionally, but I'll tell you what doesn't happen. They don't just say, well, good luck in your future endeavors. With that media, they beat me up. With their power, they tried to make me behave. It takes a strong person to stand out in the cold like that. When Dave realized that Comedy Central had done more harm to him than even Fox Network had, he was heartbroken, but not hopeless. So he came to his community to ask for help.
I said, I'm going to my real boss, and I came to you because I know where my power lies.
So he had to walk away and go off the grid, and later came back talking about how the entertainment industry can be a toxic, manipulative place. Could Jim be going through something similar? Could he be paying the price for speaking out? Let's be real, Hollywood is an industry that thrives on image, and anyone who messes with that image gets pushed out. Jim Carrey isn't just your average actor, but now it feels like Hollywood is doing everything it can to make us forget about him. Why? Because he's talking about things that nobody in the industry wants to talk about. So it's not hard to imagine that Jim Carrey's outspokenness has cost him just like Chappelle. After all, how many other celebrities have been brave enough to say what he said? He's mentioned before that he's tired of the fake smiles, the backstabbing, and the manipulation that comes with Hollywood fame. But by saying these things, it feels like he's been punished. He hasn't been canceled in the traditional sense, no major scandals or public disgrace, but instead he's been pushed out, almost like Hollywood is erasing him from the narrative.
You know, and I'm sick of, hold on a second. You know what they're trying to do? Who? This thing is buzzing, hold on. They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just gotta get this.
And it's not just his career. If the rumors about his self-isolation are true, it seems like even his mental health has taken a hit. Jim has opened up about his own experiences with depression and how those experiences have changed over the years. Describing himself as sometimes happy, the actor-comedian told me, "At this point, I don't have depression. There is not an experience of depression. I had that for years, but now, when the rain comes, it rains. But it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay long enough to immerse me and drown me anymore." Though he did not directly reference the matter, he reflected more generally on his life experiences, stating, "What's happening is really good, but there is some really bad in there too. Some people have come at me in the last couple of years with the intent of breaking off a piece of the Holy Grail for themselves, but the Grail isn't a thing that you can break off. I'm perfectly fine with everything that has happened, even the horrible shish tea, in life and in art. There is a lot of satisfaction about looking back at those things." So, just like a flick of a switch, Jim wasn't in the spotlight anymore. Sure, he stepped away to focus on his art, but there's something about his exit that feels off. Could it be that Hollywood, or maybe the powers behind Hollywood, wanted him silenced before he exposed too much? Well, fans also want Jim to always tell whatever he sees rather than enduring it. As one of them wrote, "It's cool that Jim literally says whatever he wants and doesn't matter what Hollywood does. He is so set and one of the most famous actors of all time. Burning Hollywood on his way out is something I bet a lot of stars wish they could do but can't." Jim's also been making waves, subtly calling out the Illuminati, hinting that they're the ones pulling the strings behind the scenes, not just in Hollywood, but in our everyday lives. It's wild to think about, right? There's no solid proof that the Illuminati exists today, but that hasn't stopped conspiracy theorists from speculating about which celebs might be in on it. True believers are always quick to point out evidence, claiming they can spot hidden messages in everything from a star's outfit to how they pose for photos. And Jim seemingly mocked that the whole of Hollywood is a part of it.
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is.
Well, Hollywood is no stranger to covering up the truth. And according to Katt Williams, Jim Carrey might be the next target in a long line of stars who've been silenced for knowing too much. Will Smith, he says, is at the center of this storm, driven not just by revenge for Jim's public comments, but by a deeper need to protect the system that made him who he is. But here's the thing, Jim Carrey isn't backing down. In fact, Katt says Jim knows exactly what's coming, and he's not afraid. Jim's been dropping hints, cryptic messages about enlightenment, waking up from the illusion, and seeing Hollywood for what it truly is. He's already hinted that he might walk away from acting, but not before he tells the world the truth he's uncovered. The question is, how far will Will Smith go to stop him? And will Jim Carrey survive this Hollywood hunt? Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. This showdown is going to be bigger than anyone could have ever imagined. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.